All praise to the Master Yahushua and unto Yahweh, Supreme Spirit of the universe. All praise unto the Most High. Today I come to you with some familiar information that most of you probably has seen and has been a part of, but don't know why. So today we will address several things. I'm not going to be before you too long today, but I want to address these because we have seen it and been a part of it, and indulge in it, but don't know why. So today we want to talk about why are these specific things that we so used to and understand, but don't know the reason. So today I want to talk about sun worship. So again, today I want to talk, we mentioned it, and we spoke about it a couple weeks ago, but I want to continue to talk about sun worship, the worshiping of the sun. I give you information before, and today I would like to give you some added information concerning it. There are three parts to, well, we may add a few more, but there are three main parts that I want to elaborate on today. And that is the Duritz, the corn, and the bar. The Duritz, which is the occult group in England several hundred years ago. The Duritz, the corn, and the bar. And how is that related to sun worship? So we're going to talk about it. I'm going into technology a little bit today because I did copy some of my notes on my phone. I took a picture of it, so I have to go through my phone to do the reading of what I want to share with you, because I took, all right. So what I want to talk to you about is today, and just be patient with me as I, put this out. We learn about Catholicism, and we have viewed, and some of us had participated in what is called the Mass. Now, do we know what the Mass is? Do we understand what is a Mass? Do we know what it is? Now, if I ask you what is a Mass, some of you will tell me it's a service. Well, what is the definition of the Mass? Do we know what the Mass is? Well, looking up some of the definition of a Mass, and every place I look to get the definition, I'm running into nothing relating really to what a service is, according to what we know. But in definition of the Mass, then I'm going to just give you two. It is a mass of dough. We learn a mass of dough, or dough in a doughy sense, so something bulky or something that is a massive or big something, or something major. It is a mass, bulk, size, expand, or massive tower. That's some of the definition. But there is one of the definitions that caught my attention. And looking at it, I was like, let me grab this one because it stood out above the rest. And there were several others that had nothing to do with worship. And I'm like, wow. But one of it that stand out to me was the one that said ordinary or common people as a whole, the working class or the low social classes. And I'm like, that is exactly what the gathering seems to be, is the social gathering of what they believe of a low class people, ordinary working people, so coming together to worship. I'm like, that's the way they think about a mass. Wow. A low life set of people that they bring in together to give instruction of something. Now, it's also kind of joined in. It's not the same word. It don't spell the same, but it also take on the same path, which is to mask something, to cover up, to hide, to pretend something that is not what it is. Henceforth, we have a mask. And thinking about it, I'm like, really and truthfully, the mask is a cover-up of a hidden working of a group of people to bring information to ordinary people that they don't think has the knowledge to uncover what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So henceforth they call it the mass. You talking M-A-S-K or M-A-S-S? M-A-S-S is also, as I said, both word is not the same spelling, and the both word is not the same word. But when you bring it on the understanding, they have the same ramification. One is in bulk, and one is to hide. But they both do the same thing. They are representation of a disguise. To make something look more than it is. Or it's not, or to cover up something that is not, they want to give the full truth about. So, looking through it and understanding, okay, we have the mass, we have the bar, we have the corn, we have, and I said we also have what was the other one I gave you? The Durites. Those are called worshipers. How does that come to play? Well, let me start here, and I will then bring you into the study that I'm about to share with you. Be patient with me, and let me open it up. And okay, 1 second. Yeah, technology is, you got to make sure that you get this right. Okay. All right. I'll go back over here to my notes. The Jurites, or the pagans, because Jurites, they got their worship from paganism. Now, the pagans, they believe, and I want you to keep that in mind, there is a deity that is called Ceres, or Ceres, how they pronounce it. That deity is one of the, as people would say, one of the gods that the pagans worship. And that pagan worship is then believed that they have this myth, and you get all this Greek mythology and Greek beliefs of what, and they bring all this, the way they look at things. Now, in part of the myth is that Ceres, or Ceres, however they pronounce it there, is one of the goddess deity that supposedly was traveling and got into a spiritual change, or she was being chased down, or being, how to put it that way, anyway, turned into a bird, and into that bird, and also into the droplets of a corn. And that is the myth, that the corn is also the representation of Sikris. And I was studying and I'm like, wow, it's amazing that the corn is in essence of that deity and the worship of that deity, the corn. So I'm like, But in that mythology, the representation of the corn, because you gotta get into this so you understand where I'm going. In that mythology, and the reference to the corn was also the reference to her son, in reference of the vine. So in their mind, the worship of the divine is the worship to the corn, the heir of corn. I'm putting it like that. But they also believe that the corn that they're talking about is also her son. So let's go a little deeper so you get what I'm saying. So the Druids was also worshippers of this secret, the worship of that person, who is also in the worship of the Sun. So now, because the Druids has this, I want us to turn to, and you will understand that a little deeper as we go on. Now, you'll understand how this become a major issue. Let us go to Mark chapter 2, and let's read a little bit about this. So remember what I say, the pagans actually believe that the corn was given to by Sikri, pagan god, or was not the corn of the earth, but the divine son. So they, in reference, worship the corn, believing that by worshiping the corn, the paganism, by worshiping the corn, they are worshiping Sikri, son. That is their belief, the pagans' belief. And the Druids, when they come in, is that they was a observer and a devoted worshiper of Sikri, who is that goddess that they worship. So they are pushing this belief of Sikri, which is the divine worship of her son. Which now the corn is a major player in this, because when they worship the corn, they believe in they worshiping her son. Everybody get that, right? Okay. So now let us fast forward and let us get into Mark chapter 2, and I'm gonna make sure that is the one I want. And okay, and let us go down. Let us look at verses 22. And we'll start with verses 22. And no one put new wine into old wineskin. Otherwise, the new wine busts the wineskin, and the wine runs out, and the wineskin are ruined. But new wine is put to it. A new wine, the wineskin are ruined, but the new wine is to be put into fresh wineskin. Okay, now we captivating this, what we talking to try to get through right here. In verse 23 he said, and it came to be that he went through the grain field on Sabbath. And as they went, his taught ones began to pluck heads of grain. Now, what is the grain? Because in our scriptures here, it says that they went into this field and they were plucking grain. What was the grain was they plucking?
Barley, wheat.
Well, according to other studies, and according to the King James Version, according to other studies, they went into a cornfield. And they were plucking heads of corns. Now, remember what the belief is of the pagans. And remember the belief of the Jews. Remember who they worship. And how significant this is to the Pharisees. Because the Pharisees has also took on the worship of paganism, which transferred that into what we have today as Christianity. So they took the worship of the pagans and transferred that worship with them as they travel, which is they held in high esteem the corn. So when Messiah went into the cornfield with his disciples to break an ear of corn, to them he was stepping into the divine. And to them he was doing something unholy or unrighteous, because the corn was the mighty one, so to speak. The corn was one that they held in high esteem. And not only that he's picking an ear of corn, but he's doing it when?
On the Shabbat.
On the Shabbat, which is another what? Set apart day. So to them he has broken several commands or several ritual of the pagans' worship. One, he is taking the corn, which represent the son of divinity. But remember who Messiah is, because to them he is eating the son of divinity on the Shabbat day. But who is he? They don't know who he is. So hear what Messiah said to them and understand what the significance of this means. Because if the pagans have this as the mighty one, or they worship, and you have the creator of all things on that day is picking the mighty one and eating it on that day, and is disturbing to them on the Kadosh day, the set apart day, he's doing that. He created. Hold on. So we don't understand the significance yet, but you will in a minute. Because in all of this, to them, that is a great violation of who they are. That's why to the Indians, or to the some of they worship the cow. So for you to go and kill a cow, that is high treason for them. And not only for you to kill a cow, go kill a cow on the day when they're supposed to worship it. Right. You see what I'm saying? So you're in double violation. So hear what Messiah said to them right now. And that is really messing them up, because their belief is that we are worshiping Sikri, who is the son, but he is the son, and they believe that the representation of the son is also the representation of Sikri, who is the corn, the ear of corn. Oh man, you got to follow me. You got to follow this. So hear what Yahushua says. And the Pharisees said to him, look, why do what is not right on the Sabbath? What make it not right for him to pick an ear of corn on the Sabbath? Work. Huh? Work? What else? Well, I just told you. You are messing with the deity or the belief of the deity, and you're doing it on a sacred day. So you're in violation of multiple things. So how would Messiah respond to them and knowing their belief, knowing what they believe? They're not believing in him. They don't believe who he is. They believe that they are worshiping Sakri, or they are worshiping the corn. So the corn to them is sacred, and the Sabbath day is sacred. So you don't do none of that on the Sabbath. You don't break the corn, and you don't mess with the corn, and you don't do it on a consecrated day. Oh, man. So now, Messiah said to them, he said to the Pharisees said to him, it's not right. Well, why is it not right? Well, it's not right according to their belief. It's not right according to what they believe in. And he said to them, have you never read what David did when he had need and was hungry? He and those with him, and how he went into the house of Elohim while Eliathah was high priest, and ate the showbread, which is not right to eat except for the priest. And he gave it also to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man. He said to them, the Sabbath was made for man. So now he is dealing with them on something that they are looking at. Well, the Sabbath is a kadosh day. We don't do that. And also the grain of corn is sacred, so we don't do that neither. So he just did two things. And we don't work on the Sabbath because we are supposed to worship on that day. We do no work because according to the belief of Sakri, work is not supposed to be done because we in worship and consecration of her. Or we in consecration and you don't touch the corn. Okay. So Messiah says here, he says, the corn, he said Sabbath, this is what he said. He said that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Check this out. Are we going to go back to what we, again, let's go back to, again, as I said to you, we are going to, I'm going to give you a little bit of this here. So, check this out. Listen to this. The sun was the symbol, as corn was the divinity incarnated according to the sacred oral of the goddess of Egypt. The mortal high lifted by which brought forth the sun, or the sun. So they also believe that the symbol of worship is the symbol of worship to the sun deity, because the sun is also the representation of Sakri. But let us go back to something, and let what I started with. The worship of the sun, the corn, and the bar. So now you know that the corn, who it represents. Well, let's talk about the bar. It is also, they believe that Sakri was also the deity of the bar. What is called the bar, right? That is the terminology for that deity too. Where does the corn worship, after the corn worship, where do people go after they worship? Where do they go? On Saturday and on Sunday. To where? For what?
A drink.
What is the drink called? Made of what?
Corn.
What is it called? Oh, it comes from corn, yeah? Drunkenness. What is it called? What is that? What is that they take in their body?
Spirits.
Spirit. Spirit. Now they believe that the spirit of Sakri is then passed through the corn and is then served at the bar. Are you there? Are you getting it? Yeah. So he got the corn around the around the. It's okay. He just.
No, unknowingly.
Yeah. I got
You
you.
do certain things and don't realize it.
So look at this now. So let's talk about it. The corn. It's also a belief through the worship of Sakri that in the pagan mythology and belief of Greek mythology, that one of her passing was also the worship of the wafer. Oh, you guys in here. And the wafer, which is what they serve in the Catholic Church, the wafer, is a representation of the sun. That is why they make it flat and round. And it's also the disguise of the plate. The flat plate that is golden is the symbolization of the sun. So when you take the flat disc and you put it on the plate, it gives you Sakri worship or the sun worship, which is in mask. So the worship of the Pharisee was also to take that and bring it into Christianity. Henceforth, Christians use the wafer rather than using the loaf of bread. And also uses the plate, which represent the sun worship. That's why you see they all have the plate. That little saucer, the gold plate that they put the wafer on to come and serve the people. Because they don't know the significance of the plate. The significance of the plate is the representation of the sun, which is also the representation of the wafer, is the representation of the sun.
And they do it every first Sunday.
So there is a lot of disguise is going on. Masking. They also believe that in order to bring that worship, the Durics, they believe that to catch the ray of the sun or the rising of the sun, it must be at sun when the sun is coming up. So they must go out early in the morning and wait in order to worship the sun. Hence what you get what?
Sunrise Mass.
Sunrise Mass. To catch the fullness of it. They don't want to miss anything because the blessing must come upon them when the sun come up.
Right, Easter Sunday.
It's a lot.
Yes, sir.
And it's disguised and it's woven into the fabric of Christian worship. It is twisted in and mixed in into all of the fabric of the belief, but it's of pagan origin
Yes, sir.
that was passed down. Are we going? We still not finished. But as I said again, I'm not going to be before you long today. Today going to be probably the shortest sermon you ever got. I don't want to overfeed you today. I want you to meditate upon that. So let's think about it. So the next time you go to a worship service and somebody bring you a wafer, you don't partake. You don't partake because when you partake, you are taken in the spirit of Sakri. And that belief, let me share with you. Hold on. Now, let me open this up here a little bit, get back into my